Yo,
Yo, what's up?
what's happening, man? I appreciate your time for calling in. How can I help?
Okay, so I've known this girl for about 2 years now, and about August of last year, we started to get pretty serious. She was talking about me coming over and meeting her. She lived about 2 to 3 hours away, and I was in the middle of school, having to bring my mom back and forth between like where I live in Houston for cancer treatments, so I didn't have time to go see her. So I'd finally had some time in December, and she had told me that she was having anxiety attacks and that she didn't want me to see her like that. Fast forward a little bit to this February, she starts texting me again. She's a lot more flirty. She's a lot coming on a lot stronger. And I had asked her out in August 17th, if we can go out, we can date, if I can take her out on a date. And she had said yes. And then she had left abruptly for a month and said that she's had a boyfriend for 4 months and she doesn't know uh, how to tell me because she didn't want to lose me because she still wants me in her life.
Uh, what's your question?
So I'm wondering if it's even worth continuing as a friendship the way that she wants to, or if it's just better for me to get rid of her completely and walk away from everything.
Yeah, I think, man, if you're asking me personally, and if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't continue, even a friendship. And I think that her behavior in that moment says a lot about her character, lack thereof, or, and again, not to even try to make this out to be like a poo poo session on anybody, but I just think you learn a lot about people's character and integrity or lack thereof from things like that. Um, I want you to think about this. She was so afraid of losing whatever it was she was creating in her mind about you that she was willing to disregard a committed relationship that she was in or that she signed up to be in order to create this facade that y'all had a chance. Now, I'm gonna be so honest. If she's willing to go that far to do things, to keep people in her life or to force things in her life that don't need to be in there, how can we justify a friendship? How can we justify a connection in that where we've already seen where her integrity and character meter stands? And that goes for anyone. And I'm a big fan. Of course, when it comes to building friendships with people, um, you know, being honest, being, integrity filled. Your character says a whole lot. What you do when people aren't, what you say and what you do, even when people aren't around, right? Obviously, paying attention to how other people speak about you, speak to you, speak, and all those kind of things in private or in public. When actions don't align with words, okay, like there's going to be misalignment. Just from a biblical perspective, of course, that's kind of a highlight here, and I know you're not asking for that, but I just think of this perspective where how can two walk together except they be agreed, right? And it's not from a place of us agreeing on everything, so we're both each other's yes men. But I can't even walk in agreement with you when I notice how you handle the heart of other people. Because at some point, you're going to do my heart the same way. I'm not exempt because I'm somebody that you think you feel like you have a future with. If she was willing to do that to somebody she's in a committed relationship, she's going to be willing to do that to you at some point. And that's not to even spark fear. That's just to show the reality that one, we get what we tolerate. So if there's never a response, a boundary, a setup that honors the relationships we desire, people will constantly walk over that. But then two, um, it's just also showing that, man, when we see the little that we get from people, I think it's only fair to assume that we're going to receive more of it down the line. And it's always about us being able to reflect on it and ask, hey, do I have the capacity to support this? And capacity isn't necessarily always determined by what I have room for legitimately. Sometimes it's like, do I even want? Like, do I want to actually make room for this? And I think in that case, man, I don't think it makes sense to want it. And I think this is a healthy time to be able to grieve that relationship and maybe what you wanted for it. from it in order to leave it healthily. And that would be my thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I guess I'm just in
Yeah.
the process of, I'm losing someone I spent 6 to 8 hours with every
Yep.
day while I was doing homework,
Yep.
and then on the side talking to them and doing stuff with them, and then them having dig into my interests.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a part of it. You know, a lot of different investments emotionally into things, and that can also be a place that kind of, not saying it muddies the water, but especially when it comes to making hard decisions of letting go of someone based off their behaviors. You know, we think about how much we've invested, how much we connected. 6 to 8 hours on the phone, that is a lot of time. But man, I think it's something that gives us an opportunity to be able to look at ourselves from a place of alignment. What do I actually desire in relationships and in friendships, man? You know, friendships aren't just something we just want to have racks of. We don't want to just have plenty of people to have access to us. No, I'm very mindful. Like I told a client the other day, not the other day, I want to say a few weeks ago, my contact list, y'all would be embarrassed. Not embarrassed. I think y'all, let me, that's the wrong term. Y'all would be shocked at the contacts I have in my phone that easily could be smaller too. And I'm just a firm believer, man, that not everybody deserves access to me, intimate access to me. And because I have the ability to choose who I want as friends and who I want in my life, I'm gonna choose based off of character, integrity, consistencies, people that I feel like I can genuinely trust in season, because I know not all relationships are supposed to last forever, but as seasons are present, I definitely want to invest in the right people because I know that they have the capacity not just to invest in me, but honestly to honor one another, right, in the best of ways. And yeah, I just think you learn a lot about people by what they don't say no to, um, and some things that they're willing to push to the side to make room for certain things, because I think eventually you'll see it in your in the connection with you. So don't want to beat on the dead horse, but sounds like you're getting it, and I appreciate you a ton.
Thank you, thank you. It's been a
Yeah.
lot helpful than someone else I tried asking about today.
Oh, really? What did they say? I'm curious.
Uh, they said that she was a dumb twat and that I need a
Oh
man
man.
up
Oh man.
and stop being so insensitive about it. But it's like, it
No.
happened a little bit over a week ago now
Yeah. Yeah.
when she
Yeah.
dropped that on me.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm glad you called in, man. I'm glad you called in. There's just a lot of crazy, crazy stuff out here, man. So I appreciate you calling in, man, and trusting me enough to process with you. If you have other questions, man, feel free to reach out as you're processing. I'm one message away, and ask him in the chat as well.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate your time. Take it easy. Hey, man, put a one in the chat for the extra large. Was that helpful to anybody else who was listening? Listen, I want to pull this out because I know I got more callers. I got more callers, and we're gonna go in line here. Starting with Smiley Face, then Austin, I believe, Saray, No Name Needed, and then Eco. Okay, so I got you guys coming up. I want to put this in this conversation. Okay, this is really really dope. I believe this is Psalm 101. Again, even if you don't necessarily find yourself as like, um, you know, believing in the Bible and all those things. Again, this is my job is not to force you to believe the same things I do. Okay, in this space, you can feel seen, heard, loved, um, and understood, even if we don't fully agree. 4 out of the 5 ain't bad. Okay, um, and 4 out of the 5 ain't bad, but I want you to hear this. Okay, because this is something that I think is really important when it comes to your character and just considering the people that you allow in your life. It doesn't matter to what degree, if it's business partnerships, if it's romantic relationships, if it's familial connect. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? All this stuff really comes across. Okay. And so I want you to check this out. This is Psalm 102 or 101. This is verse 2 through verse 8. Sure. I will be careful to live a blameless life. When will you come to help me? I will lead a life of integrity in my own home. I will refuse to look at anything vile and vulgar. I hate all who deal crookedly. I will have nothing to do with them. I will reject perverse ideas, stay away from every evil. Okay. I will not tolerate people who slander their neighbors. I will not endure conceit and pride. I will search for faithful people to be my companions. Only those who are above reproach will be allowed to serve me. Okay. I will not allow deceivers to serve in my house, and liars will not stay in my presence. My daily task will be to ferret out the wicked and free the city of the Lord from their grip. So I want you to pay attention to some of this stuff. Okay. So I will be careful to live a blameless life. Okay. What is a blameless life? Doesn't mean I'm just so perfect. I have no issues, no flaws, right? A blameless life doesn't mean that I'm never at fault. I'm always right and I'm never the issue. Okay. And if you read that into the text, you're in trouble. But a blameless life is a life that's filled with honesty, peace. Okay. There's no duality. Okay. When I'm not living a life of duality, you know what I'm saying? Like who you see me as on this screen and in this live I guarantee is the same person you're going to encounter IRL. Guaranteed. Like it's almost going to be like, wow, you really are real. It's like, yeah, no, this is in the game. We do this for real. Right. So there's no duality. Who I am privately is who I show myself to be publicly. There's consistency. All right. I will lead a life of integrity. Realize how all of these perspectives are first starting with you, not you waiting for somebody else to do that to give yourself permission to do it for you. No, I'm choosing to live a life of integrity. I'm choosing to live a life of honesty, peace, no duality. Okay. I'm choosing to refuse to look at anything vile and vulgar, right? So I'm mindful of my entry gates. I'm mindful of what I see. I'm mindful of what I listen to. I'm mindful of who I give my time and attention. I'm mindful of who has access to me and who's close to me and who's in proximity to me, right? My yes is awesome. So is my no, right? My no is just as quick and dope as my yes. Like that's just what it's going to be. Okay. I hate all who deal crookedly. Okay. I will have nothing to do with them. So I'm paying attention to the life and behaviors of other people. Right. So I'm choosing a healthy circle because healthy circles produce healthy relationships. So dealing crookedly, I'm seeing you sly and move around other people and disregard other people, minimize it. At some point, again, as we said at the last call, you're going to do that to me. Like it's not out of the realm of possibility that there's a chance how you're treating them, you're going to come back around. So I pay attention to how you treat people you don't need. I pay attention to how you treat people, you know, who really don't really have any impact to what you're doing or what you're building. They need you more than you need them. How do you handle that? That's very important to me, right? When it comes to rejecting perverse ideas, staying from every evil, I will not tolerate people who slander their neighbors. I will not endure conceit and pride. Okay. So how others speak of others says a lot about them. Right. So when y'all go on dates, when y'all engage with people, friendships, romantic, anything in between. So instead of focusing so much on smaller things, and again, that can be things that you point out just because that's where your mind goes first. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to add to the list a little bit, not to make it a rule of legalities, but like, yo, how are they treating that waitress? How are they treating that waiter? How are they treating somebody when they show up and they give them a compliment passing by, right? How do they treat other people around them? Right? You can't just be the only person they treat well, but everybody else they treat like trash. At some point, you're going to see that too. Okay. When you live in honesty, you're calling things for what it is. I'm not sugarcoating. I'm not living a life trying to make you comfortable or feeling like it's my responsibility to make you emotionally comfortable. My job is to be honest. So I'm going to call it what it is. And if you don't like what I have to say, don't ask. Of course, I can always find a way to say it lovingly. I don't have to say it rude, disrespectfully, distastefully, calling names, minimizing. But I'm very careful of that. All right. And then finally, when it comes to the idea of living above reproach. Okay. So if it even looks like this could be interpreted as something negative and nasty and out of my lane, I probably shouldn't even be in that realm. Right. So if one of the things that I've learned to do, here's like living above reproach. Here's a great example. All right. So for me, I set boundaries with clients that I have. Right. So you have access to me because you're joining programs, you're locked in. I don't send messages to clients past a specific time at night, 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m. Central Time, right? I don't send messages past that time because I don't want anything to come off as if like this is like we just here to kick it. I don't even want it to come off as if like, oh, he just kind of out there wilding with his client. Like, no, no, emails, messages. I'll put it out and I'll type it out, but it'll be scheduled to be sent in the morning. Right. So it's like there's boundaries and things like that. And again, a boundary, not necessarily saying that they can't send me a message, because there's stuff my clients are going through in the midnight hour and their minds are going crazy. But they know, hey, I'm probably not going to respond until the morning. But that doesn't stop you from sending a message. My boundary is a discipline I'm choosing to stick with regardless of external behavior, not something that I'm putting in front of me to keep you from reaching me. It's something designed for me to remain disciplined to what I have set up. So you can send the message. I'm just not going to respond. You know why I'm not going to respond, and I'll respond the following day. All will be well. And I trust that if it's a direct, like huge emergency, you'll call 911. I'm confident in that. Right. And so I think that's really just some examples, processing, just walking through some of that. Right. Be mindful of who has access to you. Be mindful of who's connected to you. We pay attention to those things. And if they did it to them, it can only be a matter of time before they might do it to you. And if I can see more of it here, then, it's a good chance I'm going to see more of it later. So I hope that made sense.